really, you'll find that personal writing is less about the writing at first and more about, can you brainstorm? Like, who are you? What was a time that, somebody crossed a line, right? And how did you react? Okay. How often do you leave your comfort zone? Well, in a few weeks, you guys are going to high school. That's not everyone's going to high school, but, some things might happen at STI that challenge you, that push you out of your comfort zone. How do you handle fear? So you'll find that you're not going to have an article that you read and then you write about, right? It's a little more complicated than that. So let's look at personality prompts. Michaela, can you read 24 to 34?
What motivates you? What makes you happy? What are you good at? How do you deal with boredom? Do you like being alone? How full is your glass? Do you have a hard time making
that I like to make my space. I know that I like writing. I know that I like storytelling. How well do you know yourself? As opposed to overcoming adversity, this is more about experiences. So this might be a later on exercise, right? How often did you leave your comfort zone, blah, blah, blah. Challenge for personal writing is, I don't feel like a fully formed human being yet. How can I possibly write about myself if I'm only 14, 15, right? I've been to school, that's it, right? So let's start the juices flowing, right? There are things, brainstorm, prompt. These can be bullet points, and I want to know, who are you, basically. Yeah, that's it. Who are you? So bullet points, things that you want to include. You can start super specific and obvious. I'm from New York, I'm 14, and then try to branch out from there, okay? Great, so let's go from specific to big idea. And big idea can be as big as a picture. I don't get the whole picture, obviously. I loved your list because it was different and so weirdly specific too. Like that you love penguins. So I think that about personal essay, for me, I get so much pressure. I'm like, this is my last chance to show who I am and pass it on to future generations. And somebody passes me the mic and they're like, what do you want to know? And I say, I love penguins. That would be awesome and totally valid. Totally valid. I also love that you say, I don't like what you don't like. I love that. Or I can't, what did you say? Yeah, I can't, I don't like. So these are things that you might not necessarily include in your essay, but it shows me that you know yourself enough to know what you don't like and what you can't do. It's cool that you like to dance. These are all great things. Okay? So we have all of these things about yourselves. Let's take it away from you now. Let's go back to the fiction, okay? Because fiction is fun. So we did you, who are you? We also did before that, what do you want to show in a personal essay, right? So it's a lot about story, climax, resolution, plot, blah, blah, blah. So let's pick a story that we all know and can analyze. So who is the protagonist?
Percy.
Percy. Great. Protagonist. Percy. What does he want? I don't even
like save the world or something.
Okay. Wants to save the world. Can we think of something a little more specific? So I love that because it's the big idea, definitely. Maybe the super objective. But do we know in the first book what he wants to do? Like, who does he want to defeat? I totally forget, honestly.
I think he mostly just wanted to save his mom in the first book.
Okay. His mom wants to save his mother. Great. So I kind of remember from this book is all of the action, the monsters, the places he visits, the friends he makes. It's all because, or maybe not the friends, but everything that happens is because of this objective. Great. What's the obstacle? Why is it difficult for him to save his mother?
I think he's like being framed for stealing something, like the big lightning bolt or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he is wrongly framed. I kind of remember that, right? Framed for stealing. Cool. So now we've got here. Let me highlight this because the functions on here are so cool. We have obstacle. Let's talk about the circumstance. So, where are we? Setting multiple settings, right? So, tell me the most important.
I think the most important one is their camp, right?
The camp, right? That school that they go to, or the like superpower camp.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it, but and the time is like now, anywhere, right? Percy Jackson, absolutely. He made me care about Greek myths, right? You know, Hunger Games, anything. It doesn't matter the world. Anime, right? It could be anything. I can care if you give me the ingredients. If you don't give me the ingredients, I won't care, right? I don't do debate. I don't know anything about debate. But if you tell me your objectives, your desires, the climax, I'm gonna lean in. Okay? So Aiden, let's wrap this up with you. Take it away.
Okay, so I wanted to stay in my room and play video games.
Great.
However, the garbage was still down.
Just take a step back. Think of something super boring and say, can I make a story out of it? And the answer is yes, you can. Okay? I know we're a little out of time. I'll just wrap it up. For Aiden, I would say your objective, actually, you couldn't accomplish it. You wanted to stay at home, or you wanted to stay in your room and play games, but the obstacle was your dad had a different objective. And that's interesting. That's dramatic. If I have an objective and my mom has a different objective, guess what? There's going to be a conflict, right? So sometimes you're not going to get what you want. Aiden couldn't stay in his room and play games. But what was his growth? It wasn't so bad. And he was going to do it anyway. It's not the best growth in the world, but it's something, right? So for Michaela, you got what you wanted to win the tournament or do well. Aiden didn't get what he wanted, and there was still a takeaway.
I didn't all. I lost 3 of the 4, and for the other one, my opponent didn't show up. So.
Well, Michaela, I would say if that's you not getting your objective, you still took something away from it, right? And also, you know, it was not that intimidating, you know. So all of these things make a great story. So that's time. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself. So good luck.
Thank you.
It might be a lot of work, but once you're in the thick of it, you just do it, you know. And obviously, it's difficult some days more than others, but you know, it's the same for high school. Things just move differently, especially at Stuyvesant. So, good luck. Also for Stuyde, because we do a lot of creative writing, which is awesome, and we do a lot of other analytical, you know, read a book, write about it, all of that stuff. And you're going to learn all of that, which is great. Something that I was aware of for this class is you might want to start thinking about college essays. That sounds scary, but the reason why is that the secret is no one teaches you how to write this. You know, at school, they might teach you, you know, your standard curriculum, right? But they're not going to teach you to write about your life or who you are. And actually, that's just something you're going to have to think about while you're going to high school. So I would say if I were in your position, I would feel super nervous. Like, I'm in 9th grade. I don't know, you know, what I'm supposed to write for my college essay. And I was definitely nervous junior year. But really, they just want you to think about who are you, right? If you could give me a pitch about who Aiden Tan is, what would be in that pitch? And it can be as specific as possible, right? So this whole hour is dedicated to personal writing. And something I've been thinking about is half or more personal writing is brainstorming. So I think the biggest challenge is figuring out what to write about, and more importantly, who am I, right? What do I want included in a story about me or that shows who I am? So before we do any writing at all, let's get started. So let's think of a brainstorm.